Hello there, everybody. Welcome for my foot, and welcome to Doodles and Drawings. It has been now 9 episodes of Doodles and Drawings, and for our 10th episode, we're going to be doing one of my childhood favorite characters, Thomas the Tank Engine. After we do Thomas, we're going to be doing a few other different things other than characters, and then we'll head back to characters after that. So let's get started with Thomas. So for Thomas, we're going to be drawing him from the front, so the front of his train. And we're going to start by doing his face. So let's grab our pencils, and we're going to start with a circle, because that's how Thomas's face looks. It's very circular. There we go. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle. We're not trying to be perfect here. And now we're going to start kind of doing the rest of the outline of his body. Thomas has a smokestack coming out of the top of his head, which is kind of going to be like a rectangle. And then at the top, there's a little part that edges out, because he's an old steam engine. So it kind of looks like a T on the top of his head. We're going to go down from there just a little bit, and we're going to draw the top part of his carriage. It's going to kind of come out like that. Okay, and it lips out a little bit. So we're going to kind of do this to make it lip out. And then we can even draw that coming back here. But it doesn't go all the way. There's kind of a blue section that comes here, because remember, this is a 3D object. So we're going to draw down just a little bit like that. And that's part of his train. All right. From there, we can go back out to the ends here, and we can come down just a little bit, just to about a third of the way down the circle, like that, on both sides. And then from there, we can head back over and connect. So that's the top part of his train. Now the next part is kind of like a rectangle that goes from that top third down to the bottom third. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come out just a little bit and come down until we're down to like the bottom third, and connect that to make it more of a rectangle. Like that. This one's a lot of prep heavy. Thomas is a little bit more difficult. As you can see, this side looks a little funkier than that side. That's totally fine. Underneath that, there's a little black section that's in Thomas. So we're going to kind of come down like this. It's not fully out to where the rectangle is, so we'll go down a little bit. And then right there, there's kind of like that circular arched area underneath. So we're just going to make a smaller rectangle here that curls in. And to make it look curved, we're going to do that. And we'll do some connecting, some curves. There we go. That goes back like that. We can do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to come down like this. We'll come across, another one like that. Kind of cuts back a little bit. And there we go. So those are our little hump things. And then we'll finish off by getting down to the buckle spots where the trains connect. enough there. That's all right. And we'll come over. There we go. All right. And there we have it. That's Thomas. We'll not worry about the wheels right now. We've got our outline. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start filling in some of our details. So on our bar down here that we just drew, we can draw in the circles. These are the bumpers that he has. They don't go all the way down like that, so we're going to have to do some erasing, which is fine. Remember, erasing is all part of drawing. And from that, we've got the little parts that connect to it, so we're just going to draw that like this. So that's where it comes out. We'll do the same thing on this side. We'll draw our circle. We'll erase this line, which is fine. Erase that line, it's just fine. Blah, 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 blah. Then we can draw our connector part here. There we go. So those are his bumpers. In the middle is where his train connector is. So we're just going to draw a little square here, or a rectangle, and then draw a little hook. So what we'll do is we'll do something like that, a circle, and then out from the circle comes his connector. And that's going to be in front of some things, so we'll get rid of those lines there. Just fine like that. Do a little bit of erasing, some fixing. There we go. That's his connector. We'll move up to his face, where we'll do, he's got circular eyes, like that. And he's got some little eyebrows that are usually little carrots, which is what I call them. He's got a nose, which is kind of circular like that. And then it kind of goes into his face. So what we'll do is we'll have some lines coming out like that. And then from there, we can draw his smile. And then underneath that, he's got like a little chin lip thing. So there we go. That's what his face looks like. We'll draw his eyes in the eyes. There we go, the irises. And then finally, up in the top part of his box here, we're going to add in these little black circles, which is where the train drivers would normally be able to see out of. But we all know Thomas could do it on his own if he wanted to. There we go. Like that. Now, one more thing. I said there was this kind of black section under here. So we're just going to really quickly define that area. So we're going to come down like this, and we're going to make this section here, which shows us where exactly the black areas are that we're dealing with. This one's a little bit too thin now, so we're going to erase that. And there. All right, so that's going to be where our black area is. So now we've got all of our details. We can start color. Oh, we can't start coloring yet. We got to do some lining first. So here we go. We've got our line, our Sharpie. In my case, for you, it might be a black marker, whatever it is you use. And we're going to start outlining all of our different sections here. Do our best to stay on the lines, but it's okay if we don't. Okay, we're going to come on out like this. So I don't know about you, maybe you haven't watched much Thomas, but Thomas for me was a huge thing when I was little. I was really into trains, like really into them. My mom had to take me to the local train station. We'd have to sit and watch trains for hours. God bless her. Because that couldn't have been super entertaining for her, at least, but it was for me. I loved it. We'd watch all the trains go by. Usually I think what she'd say is, because my dad took a train to work, so what she'd do is she'd figure out which train my dad was coming home on, and then we would go, like, I don't know, maybe like an hour and a half early, and we would watch all the trains go by that weren't my dad's train. And then all of a sudden, you know, my dad would get off of one of them, and I'd freak out because I'd be like, oh my gosh, Dad was on a train. You know, like, that's crazy. So we spent a lot of time sitting next to the train tracks in downtown Park Ridge, Illinois, watching trains go by. Big section of my time growing up. We'd always go to the train museum. There was one in southern Illinois that we would go down to. We'd take like, it was like over an hour drive. We'd go down there and they'd have days where like Thomas would come and they'd have Thomas the Tank Engine pulling trains. So I got to ride on like Annie and Clarabelle, which were his personal carriages. I remember those days. They were really fun. But we got to see all the other trains too. They've had, all sorts of different trains from the past and like decommissioned ones, stuff like that. So you got to go and like, they'd have one set up where you could go inside of them and like check out what was happening in the trains and these old train cars, see what they looked like, see what the conductor area was in these old trains, stuff like that. It was really cool. If you have kids, you should take them to a train museum. It's pretty sweet. They've got them all over the place. You just got to kind of look and see where they are. There we go. There's Thomas. We're going to take this opportunity just to color in some of the black areas, some of the smaller ones with the marker, like his irises here. Get those blackened in. His little peepholes here are usually black. Do those really quick, and we'll do the his bumpers in the front. I know they've kind of started remaking the old Thomas the Tank Engine episodes. There's a show, so you could go and like watch the new ones, which are pretty good. My son watched a few of them when he was growing up. It's not the same. There's it's not Ringo Starr doing the voices or anything, or it's not like as cool, I guess. Maybe I'm just a purist at heart with my Thomas the Tank Engine. But it's pretty solid. You can't go wrong with Thomas, basically. That's just the way. Make some Star Wars in there. The way. All right, so I've got some Thomas colors already picked out here. Thomas uses a lot of blue, red, gray, black, and yellow. Those are going to be our colors we use today. And we'll try to use these colors for the background as well, just to kind of stay consistent. So we'll start. We're going to fill in the rest of our black here. This section up top is black. His smokestack, of course, is also black. So I'll color that in real quick. And the other side of this circular area. So we got black over there. There's some black down here in this section. This section that we kind of cornered off here is a black area, so we'll color that in. Make sure all of our black areas are done. Then we'll do the rest of the colors since we already started with our marker. Now, when I watched Thomas wasn't actually my favorite train. My favorite train was Percy. And maybe we'll do a Percy later. Definitely worth investigating because he's a little different. Percy was a green engine. My favorite color was green, so that helped. So yeah, I had my green engine. He always got into trouble too, so he wasn't as cheeky as Thomas, but he might as well have been. And let's see here. That's pretty much it for the black. There's usually like little antennas down here. We could draw like one or two of them, so we'll just kind of freehand one here. Little antennas in this area. Do one in each section here. Okay, and now we'll switch to a different color. We'll switch to gray real quick. Gray is not going to be too much of this area. This section down here is gray around these antennas, surrounded by the black part. This part right here is gray. All right, you can see that it's a different shade. It's a lot lighter. When I draw at school, sometimes I draw cartoons for the kids at school. I have to do gray by only using black lightly. It's a lot harder, but this is easily a shade lighter, so that makes that a lot easier. And then Thomas's face is also gray, so we'll color that in as well. So Thomas lives on the island of Sodor, and it's a magical place, right, where trains are alive and whatever, but it's based off of England. Thomas is an English property. which is why the Mr. Conductor is always, or Sir Topham Hatt always is English. That's why the narrator is English, right? Sodor is England. It's based off of the original train system in England. It's always got kind of that English touch to it. It's kind of like the original Peppa Pig, for those of you who are kind of like the original Peppa Pig. For those of you who are into modern children's television. All right, there's a little bit of yellow in Thomas's design. It's going to go up here in this little area. This area is yellow. His number on the side is also yellow, but we'll stick with that for right now. And then there's a red section on the bottom here where his couplers are. So we'll color that part in as red. And then we'll have to do some blue. All right, and then the rest of our sections here are blue, so we'll color those in real quick. Get him his traditional Thomas coloring. That kind of light blue. And then we can do a little bit of background. Thomas here is a little bit more complex than some of the characters we've done in the past. As you can see, right, we've got a lot more lining, a lot more shapes. So your Thomas might not be look as nice, right, as some of the other characters we've drawn, and that's fine. Remember, we're all learning, so it's all good if we're not, you know, it doesn't look like, oh my gosh, that's exactly how it looks on TV. That's fine. We're not pros. We're just trying to learn and be better. So there we go. We're going to do a little bit of background here. So first of all, Island of Sodor is kind of Englandy, so we're going to draw some clouds here. He is a steam engine, so they're going to be spitting out some smoke. So we'll cut some smoke in there and get some more clouds coming over here. Okay, and then we don't have any green with us. We're going to try to just use the colors we've got. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of draw a little bit of a railway here, a rail track. There we go, that he's riding on, and we'll have kind of some countryside here. So we got some red grass on the side of the road here. We'll color in his smoke. There we go. And we've got the sky around him. Alrighty. And there's Thomas coming along the tracks. He's ready to go. He's probably got some important delivery he's making, as he does. And there is Thomas. Thank you guys for watching Doodles and Drawings. And next time we're going to be doing a kind of comic style drawing, which I think you'll find interesting. See you soon. Thanks again for watching Doodles and Drawings. Bye.